Hi again. We want to finish our conversation about proteins now. We already talked about how proteins are built up, and now we want to know how can we get enough of those proteins. A few points to start off with. First of all, proteins can actually be denatured when they're processed or cooked. Think about how egg whites turn from translucent to white with cooking. That's basically just the protein essentially unraveling and the amino acids laying flat instead of being in a ball. That results in a solid consistency. Denaturing proteins doesn't necessarily harm the amino acids, but in extreme conditions, like for example, really high heat, those amino acids can actually be permanently damaged. So as always, we just want to be aware of the healthiest cooking practices for the specific foods that we're going to eat. Another point is that if we don't get all of the necessary amino acids, like those 9 essential amino acids that we talked about last time, then our cells will essentially be starving. They won't have the building blocks to repair and replicate as they need. So with this, I definitely want to emphasize that protein is indeed important. But on the other hand, if we eat too much protein, it can actually cause indigestion or even nitrogen toxicity, which happens when the kidneys are unable to process and break down and expel the byproducts of protein digestion. I also want to mention that there's a big difference between animal protein and plant protein. For example, some studies have shown that casein, the animal protein, and plant proteins have completely different effects on cancer growth. I would recommend the book The China Study for more information about these particular scientific studies, and I hope to record a video for you as well, giving you more details on that. So how much protein do we actually need? Well, there are different schools of thought out there, and it does vary depending on age, gender, and lifestyle. But generally speaking, it's a range of about 10 to 20% of our calories. For a 2,000 calorie diet, that means it's about 50 to 100 grams of protein per day. Now remember that we need a good variety of the amino acids in order to have the correct building blocks to build up this protein. Again, it's like building an airplane out of Legos, like we mentioned in our last video. So how do we know if we eat enough protein? And one of the best ways that I find is to analyze and calculate a few of our meals. There are a lot of food tracking apps and websites out there. Now I highly recommend tracking 3 to 7 days worth of meals to get a really good picture of what you're eating, but even one meal or one day is going to give you a little bit of an idea. This may seem like a daunting task, but the apps and websites out there nowadays actually make it quite simple for you. And if you're interested, I also can make a video about how to analyze a meal in one of these apps. So let's make this a little bit more tangible now. I've analyzed 2 meals for you, both a breakfast and a dinner. For breakfast, we have a very simple meal of oatmeal cooked with almond milk and a few almonds and some fruit on the side. Now, I personally would dress this meal up a bit more, but for the sake of this analysis, I'm keeping it incredibly bare bones. Our second meal is a whole grain pasta with a tomato marinara, some steamed broccoli and whole grain bread on the side, as well as a luscious salad with garbanzo beans and sunflower seeds. Now again, I personally would have added a few more extras to this meal, but for the sake of this analysis, I'm keeping it really simple. I used quantities of each ingredient to make a pretty balanced meal, to keep it within 2,000 calories and also within the realm of what somebody my size, weight, and lifestyle could actually eat. Now let's plug this in and look at the results. Now breakfast came out to about 975 calories and 36 grams of protein, and dinner came out to about 990 calories and also 36 grams of protein. That gives us 72 grams of protein total for the day, which is well within the range that we were aiming for. Again, I would have put some nut butter with the oatmeal and some tofu with the pasta, but these would have only increased the protein amount. In my opinion, these are still kind of meager meals, but as you can see, we definitely were within the normal range of protein need for the day. Now with this little exercise, we were only looking at the protein and the calories, and in the real world, we'd need to look at the carbohydrates and the fats and then the nutrients overall. But I hope this helps you get an idea of how rich in protein a plant-based diet actually can be. In other videos, I want to look at what the best sources of protein are and also how we can combine foods to get the optimal balance. But for now, I hope this video was helpful. And again, as always, if you have any nutrition questions or any topic ideas, please let us know. And thanks for watching.